Alrighty then, we are live here on STG Weekly for somewhat weekly episode of episode 199 on USAAF Mustang, an NMK game, and from 1990 on the arcade, recently ported to the arcade archives, and also has a Mega Drive port. And yeah, we basically just have a fairly straightforward horizontal scrolling shmup here. And on this episode, we are going to be joined by our expert guest and player in Prickly Angler. So welcome to the show.
Hi, what's up?
Happy to do this episode, and we're going to be joined as well by Trap15, providing additional commentary as our resident NMK enthusiast and expert.
Hey, what's up?
And of course, I'm Aquas, and I'll be co-hosted by GG Maximo. So, yeah, this should be a pretty quick one. We got a 20-minute episode, but yeah, how's it going, Maximo, as well?
Good.
Nice. So, why don't you guys feel free to take it away about what the deal is with this game in NMK's library, or maybe Prickly Angler if you want to get into what attracted you to playing the game, or really anywhere you guys want to start.
I've actually picked this game more or less randomly on the PS shop. It was after, right after I've cleared Darius 2 very hard mode. I wanted to discover another game, maybe take it more chill, some new stuff. And this game looked cool, and I didn't know much about it, but at some point I found out it was NMK, and I hadn't played that much NMK games before, but sometimes in a session I played Rapid Hero, and I heard of the developer, of the mechanics, of the weird stuff. So I thought, yeah, why not? And I ended up quite liking this game. It's pretty simple, in many aspects, but I think it's really good at what it does, and it shows that even a very basic shmup can be very interesting if done correctly.
Awesome. Where does this fall on the NMK timeline, Trap15?
Yeah, so that's a pretty good summary. It's actually one of their earlier shooters. This was about when they finally solidified their hardware. So this is, kind of one of the beginning of one of the beginning games for NMK, coming right after Task Force Harrier, and before even Thunder Dragon 1. It's compared to the rest of the library, it's quite easy relatively, aside from the last stage, which is it's a typical NMK last stage where they just throw everything at you in hopes that you game over. But other than that, it's a pretty relatively chill game, and it's, I think, a great introduction to their library because it has a lot of the hallmarks of what I think makes NMK shooters pretty good. And that's it's simple, it's straightforward, the graphics are amazing, the music is relatively unique and pretty hardcore. It's just a great time, and it's a great introduction to the library.
Cool. I was wondering, did NMK do P-47 Phantom Fighter as well?
Yes, that was actually their first, traditional shooter. Before that, they had only done Argus and Voltric, which are both quite strange. But P-47, their first horizontal shooter for sure.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like that game kind of defined the NMK shooter style. And so this is more of a refinement, kind of really cementing down what they're good at.
Yeah, just my first impression is that bomb animation of the bombs in the ground that has a shitload of animation frames. That's pretty nice. So
there's so much animation in this, and especially just lots of little details that you're probably not going to notice the first, dozen credits, but the more you play it, the more you're like, oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, lots of cool graphical details in many stages, lots of parallax. The sprites are really cool. At the top of the ship, you have the I don't know how it's called in English, but you have the thing turning, which is really cool, and you also have this detail on the extents, which is even cooler, I think.
Wait,
And,
the propeller
propeller.
animates on the
Yeah,
one-up?
on the extent. Yeah. It's really funny.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I never noticed that.
Yeah. It's it's really simple, but I think it's really fine. But I want to say that I've played the P47, the first one, a bit, and I think it's still really different in the style. Like in P47, you have different weapons you can pick up, and I don't think I liked it as much. Maybe I need to pick the game again sometimes. But I think Mustang feels simpler, in my opinion, than P47, and I didn't play Aces, so I don't
P47 is definitely a bit overcomplicated, and it kind of doesn't work as well as a result. And this is much more simple, much more streamlined, and I think it really benefits from that.
Yeah. Like in P47, you have like some weapons that leave huge gaps when you fire. Yeah, there's lots of stuff.
There's so many bad weapons in that game. It's kind of miserable. But they were just like, okay, what's the best weapon we put in that game? And they just keep you with that the entire time. So it feels pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. Because the weapon is pretty simple. Basically, we have a simple shot, then it's like a freeway at the max power. And then you have like some like spread bombs or like missiles that fire on the ground that are pretty effective. So yeah, it's pretty basic, but it's effective. You cannot shoot behind, but there's not too many enemies that come from behind. Like it's not that needed. And like have a bomb, and the bomb is pretty strong. It's called the Strike Forcer. Like it gives you some invulnerability frames, but also does a lot of damage. And but yeah, the one thing is that the bomb count is independent from the life count, so it's something you need to manage in later stages.
Okay. Right. So so Hacha Mecha Fighter, which came out after this game, kind of uses the same bomb stock system, but right. So like in this game, if you die, no matter what, your bomb count never changes. So if you used up all your bombs and then you die, you still have 0 bombs, and it can put you in a real pinch. So you have to really think about it. And so in Hacha Mecha Fighter, they were like, yeah, we like the idea of your count not resetting when you die, but dying with 0 bombs in stock really sucks. So in that game, they made it so if you have 3 bombs or less, it just restocks you to 3. It's kind of the best of both worlds. But in this game, it's just if you got 0, you stay at 0.
Yeah, exactly. The bomb management, I think is a bit tricky in USAAF Mustang, and it's interesting to hear that you feel the game is easy, because for me, I think it's one of on the higher side of the clears. I mean, I don't think I've cleared that many like difficult games, but I think this one was definitely above medium. But I think it's quite unequal in that most stages are pretty chill. But then
it's just the last stage.
Yeah,
the last stage is insane.
Yeah, last stage is difficult, but I also feel stage 4 and 5, like if you die, they can put you in a bad spot, and it's then tricky to think like, oh, I've died, but I cannot bomb my way through, and like how to manage that. Like, maybe because I don't know, because I'm bad. Because stage 5 in particular was like really difficult for me. And actually, this game is a game I've only cleared once. Like I haven't cleared it another time, but. Haven't really tried either, but still shows, in my opinion, that it's somehow difficult. But yeah, I think it's probably much simpler than other NNK games like Fall Trick or some stuff like that. Like I can make fighters like those ones look way harder than this one. This one actually, didn't took me too long to clear, but actually I used the save states for the last stage and stage 4 and 5. So yeah, with stage states it took me like maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, you definitely got to learn some of the stages because it's not free. It's definitely not a free game, but compared to the hell of other NMK shooters, it's relatively mild.
Yeah, exactly. It's a studio, I think, known for its difficulty. I think the first one I played was Rapid Hero at a session, and actually was my first IRL session with the French community, and yeah, it was really cool because I didn't know this dev before. But yeah, Rapid Hero also felt like I think easier than Mustang. Like,
yeah, I would say that's probably their easiest one for sure.
I think what difficult NMK games comes to mind for me is P47 Aces, where that just gets absurd.
Yeah, that one, you hit stage 3 and then it just walls you. It gets that one gets pretty hard.
Yeah, but I think I was really surprised with the difficulty because it's not like in some shmups where like you can really feel it. You can really feel it's difficult just by looking. There, it's mostly like simple patterns, like waves, like coming at you, like one after another. But it really pressures you, and if you make a mistake, like it can really put you in a bad spot. So yeah, it was really another type of difficulty for me. And what I really like about NMK games, it's also something I'll also find in Operation Ragnarok, is how they handle enemy waves. I think it's they have a very good pace, and I don't know, it makes you move in like a very interesting way, I think.
Yeah, they definitely have a fairly unique style to their stage designs in terms of enemy layout that they just feel good. It's got a really nice flow, and it's never boring, and it's always, you know, keeping you engaged.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really different from other type of horizontal shooters I played before, such as Gradius or Darius or Polestar or stuff like that. It's really unique in my opinion, because also you have no hazards. Like you cannot like if you touch the ground, it's fine, you don't die. So
Cool.
it's kind of different.
Yeah.
And then I suppose it's also worth mentioning that you know, NMK has the P47 series, but it's named after the P47 fighter, and then this game as well, also named after a World War II fighter. So
Yeah,
I guess they just had the
exactly.
fascination with the military aircraft
Oh, yeah.
and stuff like that, which is cool. This game looks like it's a lot of the enemies are other historical aircrafts, I guess.
Yeah.
And I mean, even the giant boat boss that comes up later in the game is also a pretty accurate rendition of some World War II battleships as well.
Yeah, so that's neat. But I think we can probably get started on the replay here. We've had a good rant there about NMK in this game, and it does look like a great time. So I'm curious to see how this game plays out. And of course, we can listen to the audio as well on the replay. So I'll get it ready to go here, and we'll get a countdown on going shortly.
Yeah, this one is P51, I think, the plane.
That's correct. It's a P-51 Mustang. You're fighting against the Nazi Luftwaffe and the Imperial Japanese Navy Air Service.
Yeah, it was a very used fighter. I think the second most produced of the war, or something like that.
Yeah, there's like more than 15,000 of these built.
Yeah, and actually it's funny because I found like sort of like Russian wiki military. I don't know if the information was originally there, but it lists like every ship of the game. It like says that, oh, this isn't accurate, like you shouldn't find this plane here, etc. Like, oh, but they only had this, you know.
Wow.
They didn't have it before like 43, so yeah, it's not like, it was really funny to find this.
Oh man.
I know there are people, that are, you know, fans of, you know, that whole thing, all the military aircrafts and stuff, because even we had Studio Mud Prince had commented on the Twitter post for this, and he was making a remark about the planes and that type of thing. And
yeah, I think
cool.
it was the jacket that isn't accurate. Like it shows another plane, like not the P-51. So.
Yeah. All right, well, let us get into it, shall we? I will give us a countdown, and we will enjoy your 1 credit clear of with player 1 using autofire of USAAF Mustang. All right, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so this is a basic survival clear of the first loop. Not going for score. Well, the game doesn't actually really have many scoring mechanics. It's mostly going for the loops, and you have actually some stuff you can milk, etc. But it's not worth it. It's better to just endlessly loop the game, because when you loop, the difficulty doesn't increase. It just maxes out. But in the later stages, it's the same as the first loop. If you don't notice, you just don't get overextend. So this is the first stage. Actually, it says that it's in Normandy, but the map isn't accurate. It shows that it's in Spain, and like if you look at the background, it's more similar to Spain, I would say, than Normandy, at least some places. But yeah, basically, it's not really a difficult stage if you like really good introduction.
Oh my god, you just shot down a tent of all things.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have some funny detail. You have a motorcycle at the beginning. That's like really, really funny, and I really like the parallax in
Actually,
this
that looks almost realistic. The parallax, damn.
Yeah, the parallax in this game is, to make a terrible pun, it's unparalleled.
Yeah, exactly.
Good one.
Exactly. You have some stuff you can milk for point, like those rockets from the fighters, and also the shells from the big artillery gun. But yeah, it's not really that fundamental or anything. Like you don't have score extend in this game. You have extends only in the first loop with some enemies.
Okay.
And yeah, this is the first boss. I'm going to speed kill it, but actually I can speed kill him much faster than that. I'm going to take a bit of a risk and just shoot it in the plane. You do damage even though it doesn't shine or glow. But yeah, I'm using 15 Hz auto fire. I think 30 Hz is much more effective for some situations. But I also use the default auto fire sometimes. Like for example, right here on this stage, I use the default one because that way you don't have as many gaps with like the bombs.
Built-in auto fire.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like the spread bombs, like very sort of bit of a spread, like it's not like a Gradius free type spread, but it can help damage the things that are around it. And also, if we're about to talk about the weapons, there's something that is quite funny, is that when you get shot, basically your death animation is that your plane goes on the ground and then explodes, but as it explodes, like the remains of your plane can damage the enemies, and like you can kill. Like it's really like a detail that not necessary at all, but really funny.
It's like over detailed too, because like when your plane hits the ground, it like explodes into pieces, but the individual pieces can actually collide with enemies. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Is it instant respawn then when you die like that, or is it okay?
You so it takes time for you to fall off the screen, so you actually end up with more death time if you die at the top rather than the bottom. But as soon as your plane explodes, it's basically a timer from there, and then you just instant respawn. But you lose all your power-ups, and it's not a huge deal, but in some stages it can make recovery pretty hard. So
yeah, exactly.
It's
really situational. Yeah, exactly. Like on some stages, it's better to die than to bomb, and on some situations. But thing is that stage 4, like all the end of stage 4 and beginning of stage 5, you don't have any power-ups. So basically, if you died, you're screwed, because you're either going to have to empty your Bob stock away, or either die to reduce rank, which can be sort of a strat, but at the end, ranking is going to max out if you don't die and complete the stage. So in the long term, it's not.
Or you become frustrated and just feed money into the machine.
Yeah, exactly.
In a futile effort.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. And yeah, this. But actually, it's interesting because the death animation, for example, doesn't occur in this stage because you have no floor. So it's kind of like an interesting detail. Like they really thought about this.
Yeah, they use some
And,
great
but yeah.
backgrounds. Damn.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, this one gets even better, man. This one's crazy. Like
Yeah,
right,
this one.
right about here.
Yeah, it really blew my mind because I think it's something you see in a lot of shmups like Sea of Clouds stage, but I think this one is like the most beautiful I've.
You don't usually see
ever
like the
seen
bed
from
of clouds like
animation.
that. I feel like so that is nice.
Yeah.
And this stage gets a bit harder than the last one, even though it's not too difficult. Right here, I use 15 hertz because otherwise, if you use 30 or something like that, or the default, you cannot clear the plane. And this is an effect I like a lot. And
It's so good.
the dawn
Switch to
coming is-
daytime is
yeah,
so
it's
good.
so cool. And yeah, this section is a really like can be done without bombing. I've done it on practice, but yeah, it's best just to bomb these two planes because those two planes like they generate rockets that then fire bullets. And yeah, one thing you've noticed, or maybe you didn't notice, is the visibility is really bad in this game. So you better have a very good sight if you want to play this game. Yeah, maybe it'd be interesting to see like some range of this game of like maybe more like different scoring system and stuff like that with like more flashy bullets because yeah, as it is right now, it's kind of tricky to see. I think it's maybe like the worst shmup I've played in that regard. Maybe along Sagaya for the Master System, which also has like a clippering on a bullet, which is
These are like white and black flashing, are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Classic. Okay, so
Yeah.
TD1 has that too.
Not bad.
But at least what's cool is that they don't interfere with the style of the game, like the graphics, so that's cool. And I think, yeah, this stage is maybe one of my favorites, the Algeria stage. It's, really, like, you really have to know the waves. And, yeah, it's kind of a tricky stage. I regularly die there, and if you die, it's kind of bad.
Did you try some runs without using like separate auto fire? Did you have enough firepower, or did you not bother?
I think for most stages it's okay. It's just that the bosses are going to take longer. But yeah, as I played this game, I thought it was a bit difficult, so I put 15. I didn't put 30 to keep more like challenging boss fights. But I don't think the 15 and 30 changed that much.
More about like positioning and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the default one is really usable, like in situations like here. It's mostly when you have like enemies with high HP, but it can really change. But it's also a bit risky sometimes because you can have like missiles or Zackos that can come in between your shots.
Yeah, a lot of enemies and those ground turrets. Gotta mind that. That's cool. Yeah, nice pacing. It looks like. It looks fun.
Yeah, and also it's a bit hard to remember because there's it's like the desert. You don't have that much visual cues and telling you stuff. And it's really like positioning, like movement you have to learn and stuff like that. But actually, one technique I've seen from some higher skilled players is that they basically move their ship like constantly, just to cover more. And I'm tend more to like stay still and move if I have to react. But I think it might be better to just move all the time. That way, you're always ready to move, and it's better for coverage.
If you're doing a scoring run, you're gonna want to cover the whole screen all the time too.
Yeah, but it's mostly surviving because you have like you don't get any more extents in the loop. But actually, it's interesting because the highest scoring replay I've seen for this game is actually not it's a no-miss, 10 million. But I think you could count to stop this game because it doesn't get really more difficult. Like it's not like some top end games or stuff like that. Get really difficult on the loops. Like I think if you stay there,
okay.
Yeah, maybe if you stay there a day or two, you could counter stop it. I mean, I don't know how much the counter stop is, but if it's maybe 100 million, if you could get it.
Doesn't look like they want to give you much of a bathroom break if you had to take one, because this action is so intense.
Yeah. You don't have you have a small break between the stages, but yeah, it's really packed. And this stage in particular, like it's really hell. Like I think on this run of the roll, I did really good because the stage before I had it routed, but like this one, I still had lots of trouble. You know, like because you have to avoid shooting the planes above because otherwise you cannot deal with the ones going below. And yeah, right there, I did really good. I think I thought I would take more time to clear the game, but there I just. And this end section also is tricky because at max rank the balloons shoot bullets, so you have to stay at this position. But after that, you have a plane coming at you with some power-ups, and it's also shooting, so you have to move. And then you have to do some hurting, and I heard and then bomb, but I tried to not bomb right away. Then bomb another time for the boss, and yeah, there I died, and it's pretty stupid. But I think I don't know if I had a button malfunction or something like that, or I don't know if maybe a rocket went between.
Pretty nuts.
Yeah, maybe it was a bit careless also to move there. So I kind of have to throw a lot of bombs at the boss, and it ended up costing me some bombs, but otherwise dying there it's not too bad because the next stage is much easier than the last two.
Yeah, you see the ship blinking when you use the strike force for the invincibility. Yeah, it looks like they want you to be really aware of that.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
cool.
and it's instant and yeah, but you still have to.
Oh, and when you grab power-ups, nice.
Yeah, exactly. But you also have to be careful to bomb on time because like bullets can come fast and unexpected and so yeah. But yeah, this stage is much more chill. You have like those weird planes that come from the ground, and so what you have to do is basically stay on the left and then go up. Like yeah, those ones you're going to see in an instant. And yeah, if you're like in the middle or too much in the upper side of the screen, yeah, we're going to trap you. The patterns, yeah, are mostly simple in this game. It's mainly just hurting stuff, and you don't want to micro dodge too much if you can. Yeah, another tricky thing is that in this stage you have tanks that are hidden, you know, between the trees, and so yeah, you have to use your freeway or bombs to destroy it.
Yeah, I've noticed they hide enemies in the foreground occasionally, so that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah,
it makes use
cool
of the
idea.
parallax, like with the actual gameplay, which is clever, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, and this stage is really much easier than the one before because you can really react to stuff, and you know, you have less Zako shooting at you constantly. And also the boss is easier. I mean, it's not easy if you want to miss no bomb, but with a few bombs, it's out. And but yeah, on this boss actually, I got greedy. I didn't want to use another bomb, so I ended up using a light instead. So it's not too bad because at least I only used 2 resources. But yeah, it was pretty greedy. Yeah, it was big greedy because you can make the dodge, but yeah, it's.
I love how you had just enough iframes to just fly all the way through the tank. That was sick.
Yeah, that's the only strategy I see anybody use on that boss because it's way too hard otherwise.
Yeah, it is. Like yeah, you could, and I've on practice I've done it, but yeah, it's not something you want to do in a run, especially that you have so many bombs. Bombs do give a 10k bonus if you pick them up when you fall, but yeah, otherwise you just want to use them. And so this is the Yamato. Also a boss you want to bomb, but the good thing is that the planes, they give you 4 bombs, and I used 2 bombs on the boss. So I end up getting bombs.
Satisfying. You just destroyed like 8 turrets with that bomb.
It's such a cool boss, man. With all the flags really flying around and shit. Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah, and the music is awesome too. Really groovy and good.
Yeah, it's like really aggressive. It's got that nice quality to it. And so I forgot to mention it in the previous water stage, and you can kind of do it a little bit here, although mostly just in the intro. When your ground bombs land in the water, they they kind of sit in the water for a moment and then they explode. And the explosion inside the water actually damages enemies too. And so it's just like this weirdly over detailed extra bomb feature for, you know, one stage and like a fraction of another one only. It's just those kinds of little details that they really probably shouldn't have spent their time on.
That just sounds like they were like talking about it and like this would be just badass to have in the game.
Yeah,
but then,
exactly.
Like, don't actually
that
use it
sort
that
of deal.
much.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the sort of thing where you just feel that, you know, the guys working on it really had fun and they were just doing shit they thought was neat. And you kind of feel that in a lot of NMK games, and that's
Yeah, exactly. Like in Ragnarok, you have some details like that that are really cool. And I think what's cool about their games is that it's like basically essential shmup, like, you know, dodging, positioning, routing, stuff like that. It may be not like the most you know, expensive production or whatever, but for the budget they have, like, they do amazing work in my opinion. Like in terms of graphics and music and. Actually, I don't know much about their lore because I don't know if it's really interesting, but at least the production value aside from that is really good.
Yeah, presentation-wise, it's great. I mean, Seafarer 2 is going to come out in like a year or whatever, so it'll be the shmup killer, but this is like the top time for shmups before they had to like innovate.
Yeah,
because
pretty
of Seafarer
much.
2. So it's nice to see the graphics so detailed here and like really focus on the traditional gameplay, which is cool.
Yeah.
So this is the final level?
Yeah, it's
Sweet.
Caravan boss stage. Basically, what you want to do in this stage is you want to trigger some bosses, because you have the tanks that can come up, but I want to trigger this boss. This boss is an Avro Lancaster captured by the Japanese. Actually, it's a British plane, but you have the Japanese flag on it. And why do I want to trigger this boss? Is because it shoots like a parent that isn't too hard to dodge compared to the other bosses. So basically, I'm not going to destroy, because the more bosses you destroy, the more you will get. So there's no point in like wasting your resources if you. So basically, I'm going to dodge and how I can and. You know, just.
You're saying it's not destroying this one prevents other ones from coming in? Damn.
Yeah. Although that smaller one that he just blew up, that one, just like the other bosses, just keeps coming in over and over. Yeah. So he's got to kind of watch out, because it also just like it just swoops right in. So if you don't know it's gonna come out, you're probably gonna get smashed into and die, and it kind of feels cheap, but. It's the last stage, so you know, they want their money.
I like how they have multiple bosses like attacking you at once.
Yeah. Ooh.
Instead of like back to back like a typical boss rush.
It's just throwing everything extra. I think it's a difficult game to no miss no bomb. Like if you were to do that kind of challenge, but most recently replaced just bomb because you have so much.
All that score from the missiles coming from that middle one, just
yeah. Like if you want to do like first loop scoring, I think you have to milk that type of stuff. Yeah, very good. Pretty lucky with micro dodges, I think.
This is intense. Yeah, damn.
This
actually,
last stage is no joke.
For this stage, I practiced, but on my setup, I didn't have many extents. I have like maybe 2, so I never actually cleared it on practice. So I think right there I had just a really good,
that was
really good run.
Yes.
And actually, I have a route for triggering the first plane. This one, the big one, the Lancaster. But I don't remember the route for the other ones. But I think when I practiced, I more or less had a feel of when I had to destroy the other bosses to, get the... Because if you get the tanks, it really gets much more difficult.
Yeah, the tanks for this boss rush, because you've got that other mid-boss plane hanging out, it gets really, really rough. I actually haven't cleared this game because this last stage just filtered me way too hard. I couldn't figure it out. But maybe I'll come back to it now that I know about this timeout strat.
Yeah, that was pretty slick.
Yeah, I think you could clear it because I mean it didn't take me too long, and I think I have more experience on NNK games. But yeah, honestly, on that replay, I think I was on a high or something like that because I don't know, it just went really well. And this is loop 2, but actually I'm kind of disappointed because I lost my lives really stupidly in loop 2. Like I had no intention of like going far. But I really was just playing as loop 1 and got trapped like really stupid.
So you were saying
Because-
there is no differences in the difficulty for loop 2? Or is it?
Only that rank is maxed out, and
Oh,
I'm
okay.
never
Oh, I
used to playing stage 1 with max rank.
Okay, so the early stages are going to be a bit different. Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
I
the
think that-
early stages
Cool.
change, but yeah, because the rank system in this game is pretty primitive. It's just every stage you clear, the rank goes up by 1. Every time you die, it goes down by 1, and it maxes at 3.
Okay.
And so in the second loop, it's just always set to 3. So yeah,
Pretty basic, but effective, I would say. So that's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's extremely basic. I think it's maybe the one criticism you could say about this game. It's maybe like too basic. I mean, I don't know if Trap would like to make an arrange, I don't know, for X or something like that. I think it's a game that maybe could benefit from that because it's just basically shooting and bombing and yeah, it's really effective. But because of it, it's maybe not a game I want to go back as much as I
Right.
would. Maybe Ragnarok
it
or
is-
something like.
yeah, it is that kind of game where you once you clear it, there's not really too much else to do with it. That's kind of why scoring was made in the first place, is so that people who clear it still have some reason to go back and play it. But yeah, there's not too much of that in this because the second loop really is almost identical to the first. So it's really just get your clear. Maybe if you're crazy, do a no miss. Nobody's gonna do a no miss, no bomb because that's insane. But
Yeah, that's
you know,
insane. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
So-
the some bosses I said I did on No Miss No Bomb was like on practice after trying like maybe 10 or 15 times. Like not something you really want to route, I would say. Especially in a game,
it's not really
so many
doable.
bombs. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
kinda like-
exactly. It's very, that's another big NMK staple that they kind of, I wouldn't say they introduced in this game, but it's in full force, is just giving you lots of bombs to get over the really hard stuff that they put in there.
Yeah, exactly. They sort of have this gimmick of like the boss is like super difficult if you want to no miss the bomb, but then if you fire 1 or 2 bombs and point blank, it's gone before you know it. So it's kind of funny because I think it's also fun to try to no miss no bomb them. Like sometimes you go to the boss and you have no bomb, so you kind of like try. But
Yeah, that sounds like a
but
good challenge, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it's true that some people that prefer like cave bosses or like 2 bosses with like lots of different patterns, I feel like maybe it's a bit lamer.
And then,
for sure.
I wanted to point out too, every stage tallies your casualty rate of the enemy. which
Sure.
is-
Yeah.
The number of enemies died. Like it's
Yeah.
just it's so blunt and straightforward. It's really funny.
I know a few games.
Yeah.
One I know that does that too is Under Defeat, and that game also had a pretty serious tone with the
Oh, does that? I didn't realize that
Yeah.
had something like that.
yeah
That's
Under
funny.
Defeat does too, and then of course like the pilots do die at the end of that game too. It's just like war is not
Oh.
pretty. War is not pretty.
War is
Yeah.
hell. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I think it's more maybe naive, just playing an American ship, going to Germany to the Pacific, shooting the bad guys, like more standard. But I think it's effective. I'm maybe not a huge fan of this type of, but I do like military stuff, and I think it does it pretty well. Even though it's not like Strikers 1945 where you have mechs and stuff. But I think the style of the ships in this game is still really cool.
This is such like an interesting time for shmups at 1990. I mean, they'd be
kinda-
trying to stick out from each other, and definitely if I had seen this in the arcade, like it would just be fun to watch someone else play because the detail is like pretty absurd. But trying to think of like some of the other 90s shmups in the arcade that would be competing.
Raiden,
this.
Trigon.
Yeah, Raiden.
Yeah.
And like Raiden has a lot of
definitely Raiden.
detail.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know too much 1990. I know a bit. I think Parodius Die is also from that year. But
Yes,
maybe,
it is.
in a different style. But yeah, I know in Gradius 3, but that one wasn't very successful. That's from 89 actually.
Oh man, Konami was just killing it back then.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really curious to try more NMK games because there are many of them in the Arcade Archive catalog. So yeah, I think I'm going to play I Can Make a Fighter eventually. Maybe some stuff like Dark Force Area, Thunder Dragon 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's crazy that Haka Mecha Fighters after this. That game is pretty wild.
Yeah, that's a pretty nutty game, and since that game's basically NMK Parodius, it's got call outs to stuff from this game too.
I remember you told me that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks difficult, and I think that
It's really hard.
Yeah. But yeah, at least it's accessible, and ports are okay. I don't have too much complaints on this one. Like on some arcade archives, like they put some, not really functional auto fire rates, like on Blazing Star. Like if you play some ships in Blazing Star, you cannot basically use the force as you want.
But yeah. Some of the earlier arcade archives are like that for sure. But I think all the NMK stuff started coming out after they, made it really good. So there's not really too much to complain about other than the lack of save state slots.
Yeah, exactly. It's really basic, and there's no because on some games you can sort of cheat the save state thing and have the two save states. For example, on Ragnarok you have Z-Blade and Ragnarok, you can basically the same game.
Yeah.
Put a save state in one and do your runs on another. And this one you just have one version. But yeah, aside from that, you have 15, 20, and 30 for rates, and scanline options are pretty cool. And it's I was really happy to have discovered this game. I'm like, oh, let's try something on the store, and it was a really good discovery.
Yeah, I have to say I'm pretty impressed, and I want to try it now. Pretty cool. Looks like a pretty cool game.
Yeah. It's a good enjoyable time. I feel like it's kind of just pretty comfy, you know what I mean?
And that's what you want out of a shmup a lot of the times. It's just,
Right. Sometimes you just want to chill out, blow stuff up, and have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. This is the game, to do so. It's I think it's really learnable, clearable. It's not insane like Gradius 3 or something like that. But yeah, it's definitely challenging and not free as well. So also need to invest some time if you want to clear it. Maybe I'm going to try for consistency, maybe to do a live demonstration about it about the game. But it looks more difficult than clearing the game one time.
Right.
Right on. Well, I think we could probably wrap it up here. This was fun to check out, and of course, thanks guys for coming on and talking about it. This was good. Kind of a game nobody talks about, so it was great to have it on the show. And Arcade Archives port available, so that's awesome as well.
Yeah, and maybe I'll submit Ragnarok eventually.
Ooh, that's a pretty good one too. Also, much harder though.
Yeah, I think you've played it, Maximo too.
Yeah, I did, but I never clearing it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's really a fun game too.
That's Neo Geo, isn't it?
Yeah,
yes.
Neo Geo. But I don't know why it doesn't look like a Neo Geo in style of graphics, because all the Neo Geo games are so this, blend that's really easy to recognize, but this one is more like traditional MK for some reason.
Yep.
Okay, well, we'll wrap it up here then. Thanks again, everyone, for coming out. And next episode is episode 200, so hopefully we'll get something special going on for that. Some people have been bugging me about doing pink sweets.
Ooh.
Maybe we could get pink sweets and
Nice.
plasm up in here, and maybe some other people just to shoot the shit, because you might need more person than just two people to talk about that game, because it's fucking an hour and 20 minutes long. But,
Yeah.
yeah. Just goes on forever. But yeah,
That is a crazy game.
Yeah, insane. Yeah, and also we do have some other world record holders, so it's really cool too.
that might be an
Yeah,
idea
that's true.
for that. So, but yeah, stay tuned, and thanks everyone for sticking around for the show. Of course, as the years have gone by, it's 10 years old. The show, which is pretty crazy.
Dang,
Wow.
really?
Yeah.
Man.
The time has flown as we've taken multiple breaks throughout the years and whatnot, but regardless,
Yeah.
we're still around and just still liking shmups, so not much more to be said than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, always here for Shmups.
Okay, well, take care, everybody, and until next time.
Bye bye.
See ya.
See you next game.